Hi, it's Neil Sean here on Your Entertainment News. I'm surrounded by a comedy legend with the one and only Mr. Mike Winters, who tells us all about his latest book, The Sunny Side of Winters. Remember though, Mike?
If you miss it, you miss out.
Don't miss Mike today on Your Entertainment News.
If you miss it, you miss out.
You've got it, well done.
Yeah. Can I say it again?
Say it again.
If you miss it, you miss out.
Thank you, Mike.
Over the points, 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 over the points. The 6-5 special streaming down the line. 6-5 special right on time. Coal in the boiler, burning up bright. Rolling in the rocket.
Well, their act was Mike and Bernie's act, really. Mike, of course, was the straight man, and Bernie more or less acted the fool. And Mike there, he did everything just right, suave, debonair, and Bernie was sort of the idiot of the butt of the jokes, really. But they worked so well together because you could see through it. They were brothers.
Finally to meet you in the flesh, a legend.
Pardon, would you repeat that? I love the word. The legend.
You are a comedy legend.
Legend, yeah.
A legend. And you have written this fantastic book, The Sunny Side of Winters. You know, really, I can't rate this book enough for you because...
Well, you can't. It's a legendary book.
No, seriously, you know, when you turn the page, you've done so much, you know, and what I think people, obviously we know you as, is a funny man, you know, a comedian, along with your brother, of course. But when you look back at how you got into showbiz, I just find it fascinating because I was looking at the thing, and there's a great line in the book where you get your kind of first break with this band playing a clarinet. And I love the line where you go back home and your mother sort of slightly questions you about the intentions of the people you were messing around with.
Are you sort of referring to the night in the Turkish baths
Yeah.
with the American actor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking, how on earth would you have, for such a young age, and your innocence comes through brilliantly.
I was 16, man.
Yeah. No, but you know, you come through and you're like, well, I just went back, and your mum's making a thing.
That's
and she
right.
tactfully sort of says, and...
Where did you sleep?
where did you go, Mike? You know,
Yeah.
so-
You didn't sleep in the same bed, did you? No, Mum.
Obviously, music was a big passion for you. That,
Yes.
you know, did you always know, though, at some point you were going to go into comedy, or did you think I may want to be a professional, sort of full-time musician?
I never thought about comedy. And now you've seen me in real life, you know why. But no, I never thought about comedy. I wanted to be either a famous clarinetist, either classical or swing, mainly swing, or a foreign correspondent who wore those beautiful raincoats, you know what I'm talking, with the epaulettes and the collar up, and go to foreign countries and be like, this is Ace Winters here from Hong Kong. That were my ambitions.
So
I didn't get either, actually.
Imagine that this is your girlfriend.
What, this?
There she is.
Yeah, well, things ain't that bad.
She's beautiful, she's lovely.
You like her?
Yeah.
Well, you have her.
I don't want her.
when what was the turning point then for you, realising that, you know, together you and your brother could be funny? Because a lot of people would say brothers tend not to get on at that young age, but you obviously did get on.
Oh, we did, yeah. We got on. I know there's a lot of stories going on how we row. We had about 4 hours or 5 hours in the whole of our life, okay? And then when we had the last one, which was a split up, it was mainly, in the nicest possible way, a media setup, because I was living in Miami at the time, and Bernie was in pantomime, so we didn't even speak.
Yeah.
So all you heard were various reports. No, we got on great from kids right through our lives, in fact. In fact, in the book, you know, how lucky I was to have such a talented and loving brother.
I'm not scared. I'm prepared.
Mike and Bernie, when they started in Moss Empires, of course, they'd made it because Moss Empires was the Premier League. And of course there were 30 theatres from the Palladium. They were all known as Empires at Leeds, Sheffield, Brighton, Hippodrome. All of them, they were all governed or run by Moss Empires. And it was they were unique because every Moss Empire had the same size orchestra, and they were immaculate with the theatre, beautiful dressing rooms, and you'd made it. when you were on Moss Empires, next step was television.
You were put, or were shown to a lady called Cissy Williams, who was like the cheese. Now,
That's
just explain who Cissy Williams was.
She was the booker. She booked the Moss Empires, which was the #1 circuit to play. It was part of the Palladium circuit.
Yeah.
So once you got into the Moss Empires, you're really doing big. You got to hit the big time. The Finsbury Park Empire, the Leeds, the Empires all across England and Scotland, Glasgow, Edinburgh. And once we got onto the onto that stage, the Empire stages, you can say now you really are entrenched in show business.
Yeah.
But it was difficult to get. Now, she saw our act, I think, maybe at in London somewhere, maybe on a Hackney Empire, or not even an Empire. Might have been Harrow or somewhere, some second-rate date movie. And I think our agent at the time said, "What do you think of the boys?" She said, "Well, they haven't got a very good act, but the suits are good. So I'll book the suits." And that's when we got our first Empire date. She booked, "You like the suits?"
And when you describe that life that you led, I mean, it was a very tough life going week to week in variety, isn't it? It's not as easy as it seems glamorous, but it's not, because you go from one date to another to another. What was it like? Describe your life at that period then, because you obviously had to write your own stuff, be funny, and travel.
How was it? Terrific. It was fun. It was great. You didn't have a care in the world. You just worried about your act.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got a laugh, you can celebrate. It's getting the act good. That was the big problem. The traveling was fun. I mean, you're traveling. What's wrong with traveling? You know, and at the end of the week, possibly you got paid. That was great too. No, I just, the memories of those days, it's just wonderful fun. Bernie and I had a great time. Just, I think I tried to get that across in the book. That it was enjoyable. You know, we liked what we were doing, and you know when you're getting better at something, you can sort of, the change is noticed in maybe 3 months, 6 months. You're finding you're working better. You have more confidence in what you're doing, and other people say, "Well, that was good, boys." We were called boys till we were in our 50s, but you know, that was good, boys. That was the reward. It wasn't money. I mean, I can tell you quite honestly, some weeks we were so skint. We would get a loaf of bread. I didn't drink milk. Bernie drank milk. A loaf of bread, and spend most of the afternoons on the pass, in a free pass, going to the cinema to keep out the cold. You know, but that didn't worry us either. The idea of life, really, for men who have to earn a living, is to find something. Now, I have 2 boys going to college right now, 2 grandsons. The idea is to find something that you really want to do. That's the first thing. That's hard.
Yeah.
Find it you really want to do, that you don't mind getting up in the mornings for.
Yeah, it's
right?
a fire, isn't it?
Yeah, you just got to do it, and then finding a way to get paid for it.
Yeah.
You know, if you start that, I want to do this, and hopefully I'll earn a living at it, then you're going to have a fun life, if not particularly successful one, but you'll enjoy it.
You haven't seen this Hamlet here? No? Could we please have Bernie Winters singing From Me to You? Bernie Winters singing From Me to You? What's this?
I'll go on, look.
What's this finger?
I do like Bernie Winters. He's funny.
Yeah?
Could he please sing I Want to Hold Your Hand?
No, it must be a gag. Request for Bernie?
Somebody
What's
just...
this for?
there's another one, yeah.
From somebody asking for Bernie Winters to sing She Loves You. You look at that. Bernie Winters to sing She Loves You? Yeah. Have you got one too, John?
Yeah, I'll go on too. He says, "Dear Bernie, please sing All My Luggage."
All my luggage? That sounds more like it. He can't spell.
When you were starting to tour around, you touched on some of the names that you worked with, who, you know, people like Albert Modley and people like that, who were huge comics in their days, you know, Frank Randalls and people like that. Did you, when you were on shows like that, did you and Bernie then stand at the side and watch these people and think, wow, masterclass really, you know, for young kids?
Masterclass. These guys were great. You mentioned 2 great. I didn't work with Frank Randall. I saw him, but never worked with him. But Albert Modley, we did. I got to tell you this story. I mean, we worked with our Albert in Blackpool for, I think it was 5 months, 20 weeks, at the Palace Theatre. It was our first summer show, I think, ever. Wow. And we had new suits made for the show and arranged everything, you know, to be the best. We went on, and for the first, it was 60 weeks, so the first 10 weeks, we died. Every performance, twice a night, died, not a laugh. It was sort of driving us nuts. So we went to see the producers, George and Alfie Black show. And of course Albert's getting yells, belly laughs all every night, you know. And we're going on doing it. Thank God we could dance and play instruments, so we get off to a little applause. Yeah. Couldn't get a laugh. Not, you know, couldn't even get a chuckle. So we saw the Blacks. He says, would you mind, Terry, if we've been working on it, we'd like to change our outfits and change our material. No, don't be silly, boys. You're doing great, but we're not getting enough. They like you. They're smiling. I said, well, couldn't you sort of talk them into giggling a little bit? I said, we're dying. He said, don't be silly. You're doing great. Leave it everything as it is. We're very pleased with you. So we left it as it is, and for the next 6 weeks, the last 6 weeks, we carried on and died. At the six weeks, 12 performances, not a laugh. It was years later. Now we've done a bit better in the show business. We have changed our act by now and our outfits. We see George and Alfred booking us for another show. And we mentioned how we died and they start to laugh. So what are you laughing at? He said, well, I'll tell you the truth, boys. He said, we should bring our friends who come into town, so you've got to come to the Palace. And they'd stand at the back of the stalls with their mates and watch us die. Us dying was the cabaret. That's why they won't let us change the act.
Cruel, isn't it?
It's so cruel, but it's so funny.
And it's only now when you get older you find it more funny.
Oh,
you
yes,
think,
exactly.
I might do that myself.
Yeah, but
yeah.
It's like boxing, isn't it? You've got to go from the 3 rounds to the 4 rounds to the 6th round, and you've got to get it's nice to get hit on the chin or get blooded, so you know if you can take it. I think it's all good. That's experience.
Blackpool itself was the mecca of show business at that time. Anyone that was anyone wanted to appear in Blackpool theatres because all the big stars were there. In 1955, they brought the Royal Command to Blackpool, to the Opera House, because all the stars were there, every one of them. And of course, it was quite good. 14 weeks' work. When you were in Blackpool, to make Blackpool, to have made it for a summer season. Ken Dodd and all of them, of course.
When you were there, I mean, just to sort of reminisce about how big Blackpool was, it was a day everybody wanted to play because there were so many theatres. So you had your Three Piers, your Palace, Hippodrome, all that sort of stuff. So when you got there, where did you live when you were there in that period? Was it in a boarding house or a flat? Or?
Oh, you do ask some embarrassing questions, don't you? Well, my first trip there, I think it was 1955 or 6, something like that. I should know, it's 1955 actually. I just got married. And we lived in a caravan. On the caravan
Gate.
Huh?
Squires Gate.
Squires Gate.
Yeah.
And I'd never lived anywhere. I still slept in my rugby shirt, so I was really loaded. We lived in the caravan in Squires Gate, and we made friends there. I mention this now, but it's kind of crazy because we're still friends. After all those years, we're still close friends. I was calling him the other day. And he was a milkman.
Oh, right. So
and he's one of the greatest characters I've ever met in my life. Talking about show people, he was just a old little milkman, working for whatever the company was up there. And he started to do well. Then he had like 2 people working for him. And all of a sudden, I don't know, 10 years later, 7 years later, he's a rival for the biggest milk company in Lancashire. Right? And then we meet again, and I said, how's business going? Oh, he said, I can't do the act. Oh, bloody, finish with that. He said, didn't like that. He said, all that bloody work. I want to go water skiing. He said, I couldn't go to Windermere water skiing. So I said, what about your business? He said, oh, sold the business. And that's what he did. He sold the business, became a milkman again, but he enjoyed his life. Yeah. And we're still friends. Charlie Wade, his name, by the way. Is he's a wonderful guy, a real person with a personality. That wouldn't stand any nonsense from anybody. And he was a big pal of Frankie Vaughan's. Did weightlifting with Frankie.
Hey, where's that bottle of scotch I bought you? I threw it away.
What for?
Well, it said it was 17 years old on the bottle. I thought it'd gone stale.
All right, look, what have we got to drink tonight?
Oh, don't, some good gear for us.
Yeah?
I've been down to the supermarket and I bought this wine, see?
Yeah?
It's a sort of a mixture between muscatel and hock.
What's it called?
Muck.
Mike and Bernie Winters, they were, as you say, they were brothers, and the thing is, they were very funny men without being rude, dirty or anything. They could appeal to young and old, and they were very up to date with all their material.
You see, when you were there, what I find fascinating is when you were there and you're young and you're starting out, I'm always intrigued by comedians and performers is who made you laugh, because you're making us laugh. But when you were off, or who did you go and see, and they just always made me laugh, that sort of thing.
I'll tell you, who made me laugh. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't speak for Bernie, although on one I can. Sid and Max Harrison, double act, made Bernie and I laugh. Jimmy James made Bernie and I, always made us laugh. That's two right away I can think. Sid Field, the old great comedian, made us laugh. Admired Jewel and Morris, but they didn't necessarily make us laugh so much as we wanted to be like them. They wore beautiful suits. They were great dancers, very smooth. And I liked the way Ben Morris worked, how he kept control of the double act by looking at the audience. It's old-fashioned now to do that, but he looked at the audience and then he would turn to do, okay, Jimmy, and he'd right back to the audience. So they got the full face. Not good for television.
But actually a really clever way, as you say, of keeping it like he's talking to them.
That's
all the
right,
time.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So we used to go and watch them. We went, often as we came, they had lots of scenes at the London Palladium, and they always immaculately dressed and very good dancers. People forget that. So if the comedy goes a bit flat, we learned that quickly. Where the comedy goes a bit flat and you can show some talent, even if they don't like you, they're going to applaud you because you've done something. So we took note of that, so we made certain we learned to dance. We used to go to the theatre every morning, Monday till Saturday, and if there were girls on the show, that was one inducement. We'd be there every morning, hope we'd meet in Chatham, but we'd get them to show us a step. How do you do that, love? You know, can you show me that step? Well, maybe after the show tonight, but can you show me that step? And we learned to dance a little bit. And then as our career progressed, we joined a three-handed act called the Three Loose Screws. And part of the deal was we would just work in the show. It was a good act, top act, playing Moss Empires right away, and we were playing dumps before that. And we took 6 weeks off, and Jack Farr, who owned the act, taught us to dance, taught us a 6-minute routine that took us 6 to 7 weeks to learn every day, physically. It was tough. But when we could do that, we knew that whatever act we did, we were going to get big applause. And we learned that from Jimmy and Jewel. Jimmy and Ben, I should say.
The double acts with, thinking of Eric and Ernie, and of course Jewel and Morris, and many other double acts that were going round at the time. It was the thing that one was played the fool and one wasn't. But in my opinion, very good idea was if you're staying in digs, you could just book one room. You know. And it didn't cost as much. And of course, a lot of these chaps started in Ensa, our concert party. That was during the war, and the thing was they met up together. They became a double act, and they came out of the army and decided, well, let's make a living out of all this, you know. And the Ensa shows, of course, what they were. They used to say it isn't an Ensa show, we're not locking the doors, because they used to lock the doors to keep them in. But they didn't with Mike and Bernie, and they didn't disappear either.
Over the points, 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 over the points. The 6-5 special streaming down the line.
In your book also, and when I was looking at other elements of your career, you've done so much, but I often wonder if you knew just how successful it was when you were in there because of your youth. I think sometimes you don't always pick up on things when you're younger. And you were involved with 6-5 Special, which was a big, I mean, to kids today, there's nothing bigger really at that period. So when you got things like that, did you get excited and think, wow, that's really
like
good?
Tommy, because we got the job because of Tommy.
All right.
We were playing the Finsbury Park Empire on the Tommy Steele show. And Jack Good, the producer, came in to see Tommy, and he liked Bernie and I. He burst into our dressing room. He said, I'm putting you in the show. Well, what show's that? We didn't even know he was. You know. He said, I'm doing this teenage show. You're going to be in it. Okay, my name's Jack Good, and hello, and goodbye. And we're in the show. So what does that mean to us? How much are we going to get? Any money in this? It was a freebie, you know. And then spoke to Tommy, and we did a couple, and we booked for the series. No, talking about, well, did we know we were famous? No. No.
But when you walked on the street, people must have known,
no,
you know.
Not then.
Really? So I think with the pop people, did you know how big the pop people were that were on the show with you? Because Variety, you're quite insular, aren't you? You're like, are they funny?
Dare I say, didn't care. You know, did we get any laughs? You know, and I was writing most of the material for this, whatever, if you can call it material. And no, I tell you something that did happen in this show that is, I'll never forget, which was unbelievable for me. It's like a dream come true. I was erstwhile a musician. I was a clarinetist. Classical, but I played jazz. I wouldn't play swing. During the show, we had guest artists, and we weren't the stars of the show. We were in the show. Was Ted Heath in the orchestra.
Wow.
And I came up with the brilliant idea. Why? And Jack Parnell on drums. Why don't we sit in with the orchestra? Right? Well, can you really?
Move that.
Well, oh, sure. Who was Jack was may not have been produced. Joan Douglas. Joan Douglas was a woman now doing the direction. Well, can you sort of play that kind of music with them? You know, because they're top professionals. You know? Yes, don't worry. So we did. We sat in with the Ted Heath Orchestra. We played Sea Jam Blues. That's the number, and I took 24 bars solo. Bernie played drums with Jack Parnell, and we lived off that for years. You know, we played with Ted Heath's orchestra. I played with Jack Parnell. You know, we did drum solos together. Oh yes, that's a wonderful memory.
Wow.
You know, this book, if I do say so myself, it's a bloody good book. And I never say that about books, unless I write them.
Naturally.
In it, it was a slow thought, that one. In it, I try to establish how being famous at the time, you don't really notice it because you're too busy working.
Doing it.
And that makes some kind of sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's what intrigued me about it. When you're reading the book, it was fascinating because, you know, you're attached to so many famous people and you're right in there with them. But it's the fear of keeping going, the fear of writing the next material, getting the next gig, and hopefully, as you say, getting paid.
Yeah, how are you going to pay for all this?
Now, your agent at the time was a big cheese, you see, Joe Collins, who is the father of Jackie and Joan.
Right.
So what was that relationship like? What was he like as an agent?
Well, he was a bloody good agent, wasn't he? But before Joe, he got to Joe because on his office staff, he had another independent agent called Evelyn Taylor, who sort of found us, discovered us, really. She found us in a club in Marble Arch, the Orchard Club or something, forgotten. Well, we worked for months on months and never had a salary. How we got, I can't believe these, I'm telling you these stories, I can't believe they're true. We were working at this club all the hours of the morning till 2 in the morning, you know, to about 50 people who were all drunk, you know, and we're young, sharp kids, you know. And I don't suppose we did well, but again, we could move and sing, we sang songs. And so join in with us.
Yeah.
Okay. And we didn't get paid. I think the first week we got paid, and thereafter it was whenever we could get him to stop walking about and say, what was his name? Oh, damn it. Could you let us have a $5, please? We know we've no money. Well, didn't I give you one last? No, you haven't given us one like for a month. And so that's how we got paid, by getting whatever we could on one night when we could get him to stop. Right. But we didn't have the money to get the bus back to Tottenham where we were living with Mum and Dad. So we talked to him. He said, well, I've got an apartment in Oxford Street. He was Harvard. That's a joke. Harvard accent. I have to explain my jokes even today. Even today.
I have that problem. It's the young.
He said, you can stay in the flat. And, that was great, because you didn't finish till 2. I didn't get the midnight bus or a cab, it was too expensive. So we moved into this apartment, but he didn't bother to tell us, and this is true as I'm sitting here right now, we had to share with 2 prostitutes. It's true.
But you didn't tell your mum and dad that, did you?
Didn't tell Mum and Dad that. And as we walked in, you know, we went to a room on the right, which was a bedroom, and they went on there, and we shared the bathroom, and we'd see the underwear all in the thing, and we lived there for maybe 6 months with these 2 girls. And one of our frequent visitors was a mate who was always in trouble, was another jazz, was Ronnie Scott. Wow. Not for the birds, but just to come and it was somewhere to hang out in the morning. You know, when he finished at the club. It was fun, great time. Some drama, of course. You know, some sad things happened there. A couple of my jazz friend musicians died of drugs, which was terrible, but it kept Bernie and I away from drugs and realised how ludicrous that is. You know, you can die.
Yeah. Now, going back to your break, you got a break in a show called Big Night Out, which then became Blackpool Night Out. Now, that was it looked like a tough program because it's, I'm right, live, you have to write your own material, and it's a big, big show. You must have been nervous at that point, Mike, thinking, can we do this?
I'm trying to think and be honest about it. I don't think we were. I think we got a TV series. I mean, we're going to somehow do it, aren't we? You know, if you're nervous, I can't walk, can't see, but somehow we're going to do the show. You know, and we make it even tougher. We were playing Southsea in summer season, and the series we had to drive from Southsea, if I remember rightly, to Didsbury in Lancashire.
Was that the old church hall? Yeah.
Where we did the TV, came a series, Didsbury Studios. And Arthur Askey was top of the bill. And so I only have great admiration for him. He was such a nice man. He helped us with our scripts. We had writers, by the way, for the show, but I all supplemented, obviously. Yeah. And he was just lovely. He encouraged us. And he said, that's not, you know, he said, and he was one who would say to us, I wouldn't do that gag if I were you. It's a bit smutty. Oh. He would say that. It's a bit smutty, because we were never dirty, but he said, you know, you want the children, you want the mothers with their children to like you, because they're going to take them to pantomime and they'll come and see. It's longevity. If you want to stay in this business a long time, be clean. That's what his advice was. I agree with him. Yeah. I don't know if it's changed now. I don't know. I don't know.
I know what you mean. And when you get advice like that from somebody like that, even though you're young at the time, it kind of just resonates with you, doesn't it? You think, well, he's been around a long time. He's done quite well out of this. Yeah. Let's see what he says. Yeah. So that was from Manchester. Where did it come from when you went to Blackpool? Where did you perform that from?
Well, even worse, we did one season. We were in Blackpool. That was great. You know, we were Jack the Lads, aren't we? We were in town. The following year, we were in Yarmouth. Oh. That's right across on the coast there, and we had to rent a plane from like a disused field that turned into an airstrip, with candles, you know, and burning with a torch, you know. And we'd fly over to Blackpool, party that night. When we'd get in after 2 shows in Yarmouth, get up, rehearse all day, party, because you're young and you've got lots of energy. Then we would go to bed and up early, get in the plane and come back and do the shows in the evening in Yarmouth. And it was, we'd about have 2 weeks where we were stressed. And what happened? We see a doctor, and our wives would end up taking pills, and Bernie and I were fine. I mean, that's true. I mean, they ended up taking pills so they could relax. But Bernie and I, once we gave them the problems, we were fine.
You told them, and then it's like, we're all right now.
Fine. And once the show's going well, once you get a roll of the show, it's the. When you're young, you're strong, aren't you? You're physically, you're in good shape.
You don't see problems, do you? You think, oh, it's fine.
You can overcome them. They're just little hiccups. You can go over. You haven't got time for those problems. You've got the immediate problem. What are we going to do? That's on Sunday, the Sunday night show. We haven't got any good material. What should we do? So, and you're looking now, because the summer season are in, where are we going to do pantomime? Because you've got bills to pay coming to Christmas. And remember, in the 60s, and we're coming to the height of our career, we were paying 86% tax. And that's not a joke. I mean, that's more than you pay now.
I've got enough. So you then, Blackpool was very good to you, because then you became amazingly successful on the North Pier. And a big show on there. And I love the story that you write in the book about how you had to do this sort of musical act bit, I think with Randolph Sutton. Very funny.
Tarby was in the show, Jimmy Tarby.
Just very, very funny, because clearly, you know, then again, that's a youthful thing, isn't it? Now you'd go, just do it. But when you're younger, I don't want to do that.
Well, no, and didn't.
And didn't. I love the way you missed your cue, and then you just didn't quite turn up.
Just drifted. I mean, now I look back on it, it was very unprofessional, I do agree. But when I knew that it wasn't value, by the way, for the show. It wasn't value for Bernie and I. It was distracting for what we were going to do when we came back on stage. It took the edge right off us. It was a stupid thing to do. You say, later on in our career, we wouldn't have done it in the first place. Because after that series, that show, that North Pier show, we never did that again ever. Wow. We did comedy in the first half finale. We wrote material. We did a wedding bit to fit into the show, but we wouldn't come out and take the edge off ourselves. And the producer at the time, whoever it was, should have seen that. So me coming out, I didn't want a confrontation, although I think you read a bit. I never hid from those either, but I didn't want a confrontation. It's never wise to do that, I don't think. But I got away with it. No one complained. If there'd been a letter, or a phone call from the head office, you got to do, I'd have done it. I'd have said, well, look, it's really not. I'd have argued my case. But so please, forgive me, for he knows not what he does.
Move it away. Yes, it'll be all right. Please, could I hear the golden voice of Bernie Winters singing Till There Was You? Oh,
We're not having all this. What are you messing up?
don't you lift your hands to me, young man. Don't lift your hands. And what have you got to say for yourself?
What have I got to say? Just
Yeah.
a shout, I'll smash you right in the face.
Oh, you just...
Now, another big moment, I think, for you, for both of you in your career, and I think for any artist, must be to get a break on the Royal Variety Show. Now, you must have been nervous then, Mike, because it's a very, I mean, today it's a TV show, but then was like the business, wasn't it? You kind of made it if you got that, you know, that slot. How did all that evolve, and how did you find out and stuff like that?
I got a letter from Joe Collins there. Sure, we were nervous. Yeah, we were nervous, but there's always that tinge with excitement.
Yeah.
And isn't it great?
Yeah.
You see, it's not like you're nervous, we're going to be executed tomorrow. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, in the nicest possible way, people say, do you ever get nervous before these interviews? Like interviews. And I said, well, it's very hard to get nervous when you're talking about yourself.
Yeah, and if you can't remember, you shouldn't be doing it.
and if you can't know who you are, can't remember yourself, and what do? Who's to deny it?
Yeah.
You know, that didn't happen that way. Well, I was there.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit like you're nervous, but you're excited.
Yeah.
This is a great thrill. Now, in reality, when we found out about it, we were playing in Scotland somewhere, and we hadn't had problems of getting out of the time off to do it. Oh yeah.
I remember this in the book. Yeah, it was a really good story. Yeah, go on. Yeah, I remember.
Anyway, we got out. We got out they let us out the contract. We lost the salary for 2 nights.
Yeah.
You think, but still, I see the
Ridiculous when you think, because it's great PR for the program.
I know. Yeah.
But when you got to the Royal Show, when you were tottering around and you know, meeting the people, who were the ones that you saw that you were impressed by? Because then again, it's like when you've done them, you're standing there. I remember having to go backstage and help Celine Dion in a dress. And you're pulling this dress up thinking, if I bust this dress.
Yeah.
You know?
Anyway, why can't I record this? I know exactly why can't I tell the world this is me doing this? Look, you right?
Yeah, but you know,
sure.
you're looking and you're like,
Yeah.
wow. And then, you know, somebody else is like Jennifer Lopez down the corner and you're thinking,
Forget
wow.
the first one.
And
Just go to Jennifer Lopez.
No, but you know, like when you're in there, when you were doing it, did you know, all of those people, who were the people that you kind of thought, wow, we really have made it because we're on this show with X? Who did you work with?
Well, first of all, there's a lot there. I would say that we were the only act on the whole show that we'd never heard of. I mean, there was Rosemary Clooney, Bob Hope. I mean, that's Eartha Kitt. That's the Americans, you know. Cliff Richard, Andy Stewart. I don't know. Johnny Dankworth and Cleo Lane, whom we followed, because I knew John from the Academy.
Yeah.
So many. Everybody was a star to us, but. It's such a long story. It's quite an unbelievable story, the whole Royal Command performance. Because when you start thinking about it, if you're the first time you've done it and you're just coming up in the world and you've just signed a contract, 3 years of work, and that's, oh my God, I can pay bills now on a regular basis. But I've got to do this and work for these people. So you don't know where you are exactly. And you've got the Royal Command. And then all of a sudden you say your mum and dad are coming, your sister, oh, it's wonderful. Then all of a sudden you've got relations from everywhere.
Yeah.
They're coming out of
I love that bit when you say that,
Australia,
Yeah.
America, Scotland.
Yeah.
Can you get us tickets to the Royal Command? Now, I think you get 2, I'm not certain any, but I think you might have got 2 complimentaries, but they were expensive. It's the Royal Command. And you can't put them up in the upper circle, can you? You've got to get them good seats. So now the next problem is, I'm going to pay for this.
Yeah.
These seats.
Because you're not paid.
It's free.
Free.
Now, next thing is, your arrangements, boys, it's always boys, start to get on for 60. You've got to augment the orchestra. You only got 12 pieces, it's a 20 piece. Not cheap. Wolfie will do it. Wolfie Phillips was a conductor, a lovely guy, or Jack Parnell will arrange it. But of course, these are top guys. And they treat you as if you are. They don't know we're just schmucks from the Hicks, you know.
And you haven't got enough money to pay for it.
We don't know. We're going to debt now, you know, with the tickets. So we have the arrangements done. And then suits. Think of Jimmy and Ben, Jewel and Morris. They always can't wear these suits. Now we start. All our mind is now, what do we wear? Because Bernie doesn't want to wear exactly the same as me because he's the funny man.
Yeah.
We've got to be a little bit off. So now it's the debate on how we should adjust his suit. Maybe the trousers will be too short, so it'll look a little bit odd. So they'll know I'm the straight man in case they don't know he's the comic.
Yeah.
And then the material. So the worry is constant of different things. And before you know where you are, it's first you're there.
Yeah.
Now the only thing we were sort of, now we've got the arrangement time for the music, we know we're going to end up with the dance. Because we know we're going to get off.
Yeah.
We're going to throw ourselves with all the hard steps that we'd cut out like the last 6 years.
Yeah.
We're putting back in now because we've got to get the applause. They were like, we did knee jumps. That's a mad step. You stand like this, if you can see, the camera can see it, and you do boom, 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 and move across down the stage, and you land on your knees. You might wear a rubber pad to start with to get the. But you make a mistake, you haven't got a knee.
You're limping off, literally.
And forget the pain, you know. Smile. So we put those back in. So we know we're going to get off, and that means you've got to do a little bit of rehearsal, practice, exercise to get it.
Yeah.
So that's all in. Now in the routine. Am I boring with this story?
No, I'm fascinated, actually, yeah.
So we do this is known as the dress, where the press come in and review the show, those who can't make the evening actual performance because of the Queen isn't there.
Yeah.
So we go on, and we've got a rough idea of our routine, the sections, so we don't do jokes, we haven't got any stories.
Yeah.
But what we decided to do is to be irreverent. But Nike, always polite, so our normal start, I've got to try and stick to this. I would just say good evening, how pleased we are to be straight, seriously, and Bernie would just interrupt me, decent, like I say, yes we are, and I'd just say, Bernie, do you mind? I'm speaking.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Now, we take it to a lot of courage to do that, I want to tell you, because there's not either people can just, what is this for real? Are they going to laugh? If they don't laugh, it becomes real. First time it doesn't get a laugh, and you want to panic and do a joke. Did I tell you about Jimmy? Do a gag?
And Royal Variety audiences are tough because they're rich, so they don't need to laugh. So they sit there and go, oh.
So we kept to that premise, and Bernie came, who was brilliant comedy mind. Jack Ponner was wearing these big earrings, these muffs, these for the broadcast.
Yeah.
So Bernie comes on, he goes, Jack, I'm so sorry. Now I don't know what he's doing. This is he said, how long you had this problem? So Jack doesn't know what he's doing. He said, so I didn't know this ear problem. He said, there's a good hospital in Allman Street. He said, and this is all like the comedy we're doing is nothing. It's not comedy, it's talk. So I go, would you mind not doing this comedy? Anyway, and then we do another gag, which is kind of blue, if you want to say. And I must say the people who organised this have been so charming, so good to us particularly. We're staying in a wonderful hotel. So Bernie goes, yes, I'm in a nice hotel too. Really? He said, it's a very nice hotel. I'm doing Bernie now. Very nice hotel. He said, it's very noisy. He said, and staying next door to me? I go, no, who? He goes, Dudley Moore. I go, really? I think it's him. In fact, I'm sure it's him. Why? Well, all night long, I heard this woman shouting out, Dudley Moore, Dudley Moore. That was the gag. Okay? And you hear Bernie say, shut your mouth, doing it. Funny, the band's laughing, and I'm not about that gag, the band's
and you're
laughing.
relieved because he's now thinking he's going great.
Yeah, band's laughing, I go, so I'm laughing, won't you join us?
Yeah.
Anyhow, we get in the dressing room after the dress, and we're feeling great. We've marked the dance, we didn't go through the whole dance, just marked it, so we're going to do. And the papers, Midday Papers came out or something, like early 5 o'clock, and we're going to be the hit of the show. Mark and Bernie are going to be the hit of the show. Then before the show, either Sir Bernard or one of his second-in-commands come round. So look, boys, you've got to cut that bit out with Jack and the earphones. He said a lot of people who have bad ears or something will be offended. This is true, right? What do you mean? You have to cut it. So how can people cut it?
yeah, no argument. Yes, yeah.
He said, and that to Dudley Moore, no, that's not suitable for Royal Majesty. You can't do a joke like that. So what do you mean? That's gag's out. Okay, it's out. So now they leave us, and our opening's gone. We haven't got an opening. So now we're worried. Now, for the first time, this is the whole thing. Now we're sitting there. What do we do? We're all of a sudden, our rhythm, what we're going to do is, we don't know what we're going to do. And I don't remember now what we did, okay? I really don't. Because it was only about 2 hours, hour and a half before the show. We were on early, we followed Johnny and Cleo. And now we're nervous.
Yeah.
So we walked out, and when you've been rehearsing, and all of a sudden, that's gone. You've got a new line you're not sure of, and to be followed by something you've never done before whatsoever under pressure is difficult. And
Probably the worst show to do it on, actually. Like, probably
not
the
a good
worst
night
show.
to do it. Not a good night to
Maybe
do it.
Glasgow or somewhere like that.
Not Glasgow either, but it's not. It's you know, and just to look cool at the same time. You know, to look cool. I don't know what we did. Oh yes, I do know. I remembered. If this, I'll tell you. It's another gag again. What we know what we're going to do for the second. Like we're going to do 4.5 minutes altogether, and 2.5 minutes dance.
Yeah.
We cut the dance down to 2.5 minutes. It was really 6, but we just got the hard steps in. We were going to about how wonderful we're back in England, how cosmopolitan England is. We've got to have a subject, right?
Yeah.
And I was saying, well, actually, I've just come back from France, and France is one. I love the food. And then Bernie's line was, yes, but they're strange people, the French. So really, why? And he goes, well, I met this Frenchman the other day, and you know something? He kissed me on both cheeks. I go, well, naturally, that's the French way. They do that. He says, yes, but I was bending down at the time. We didn't get permission. We stuck it in. It got a laugh. Then we went into the French routine that we had ready rehearsed, which we did. The French, and we didn't get a laugh. No, it didn't get anything. But we covered it up by, you know, I go, well, that's the habit, covered, you know.
Yeah.
I said, I had a great time in French. Je l'aime français, très bien. Les personnes, I'm speaking French. Whatever I'm saying, I'm speaking. And he goes, I speak French. I go, really? He goes, jawohl. That's the kind of humour we did, by folks. I'm sorry. So it weren't jokes. He went,
No, but it's risky what he did, even though.
Oh yes, that was risky. Yeah.
You must have stood there thinking, "Wow."
Yeah. But what's dirty about it?
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's all in the mind, though.
Yeah, there's not even
That's the
no swear. They kissed me. I was bending down.
Yeah.
But,
I found that quite funny. Actually.
So then I go. He goes, "Jawohl." I go, that's German. He goes, what do you know? I speak German too. I didn't know that. and I start speaking something in French, which leads us into the clarinet. Which leads us into the dance, and we're off. Wow. Now, the Queen laughed when we got into the French routine. And then when she laughed, the audience laughed. They all look up, she's laughing.
Yeah.
She stopped laughing.
Yeah.
That's how it was. Anyhow, that was, the memories of it, you never forget these things, you can visualize. And when we came off, and as I said, we were on early. And we shared a dressing room with Cliff, other people whom I've forgotten, and the Scots guy, Andy.
Andy Stewart.
Andy Stewart. Now, Andy had a bottle of whiskey from the Highlands. It must have been 3,000% proof. You know, he opened it and you were drunk. Yeah. And after each act, he'd say, we should drink to their health. Now, you're Scots, aren't you?
No.
No, your dad. Is it your dad?
No.
I don't know why.
We're Yorkshire.
Okay. Well, they don't do it in Yorkshire, I don't think. Or maybe they do. We'll drink to their health. So he poured us these grams of... we knock it down. And we're on early. Yeah. And the show lasts 3 hours. Right?
Wow.
So we'll have the acts come off, Cliff Richard, and we'll come. Cheers, your good health. Now, by the end of the show, we would not only want to do our act again, or please, we'd fight and die for the Queen.
Yeah.
Now we're ready. We'll fight the world, or love the world. Whatever happens, Bernie particularly is gone.
Yeah.
But in a lovely mood, because we're at the command, aren't we?
Yeah.
In the dressing room with all these stars. We've spoken to, on the way during the evening, we've spoken to Rosie Clooney, who's charming. I fell in love with Patsy, or another American actresses, and millions of them.
Yeah.
You know? And everyone's charming. Everyone's fun, lovely. And my dad's with us now. I don't know how he got there.
Yeah.
He got in. I don't know how he even got in.
They do that, dads, yeah.
Dad's in.
Yeah.
And everyone's talking to my dad, and he's talking as if he knows everybody, but he didn't know anybody, you know. My dad could do it. Anyhow, we go in for the finale, and Bernie, you know when some drunks go stiff instead of sloppy, Bernie's gone very rigid, and he's looking up at the box, the Queen in the box, with a fixed smile, a gleam in his eye, as only a drunk can, you know, that sort of, an insane smile that's sort of etched into the skin. And all through the finale, as they're all taking the bows, he just stands there with his eyes on the Queen. And the curtain comes down and pulls, and we're happy as it's the command. And we're about to go to our dressing room, and Jack Matthews, the stage manager, comes over to us. He said, "You're going to be presented to the Queen." I went, "No, yes, you are. Now, let me give you the protocol." Bernie, what do we want to do with those? You know, no, this is how you speak to the Queen. I know how to speak to the Queen. I can speak. No, Bernie, please shut up a moment. Listen to the man. Yeah. When you first meet her, you say, "Your Majesty." I better be right on this. I'm thinking.
No, you're right.
Yeah, Your Majesty.
Yeah.
And thereafter, you are allowed to say, ma'am.
Yeah.
So you got that? Yeah, I got that, Burn. Yeah, it's got it, sure, yeah. So then we go to the side of the stage of the pass door, and all the acts are lined up, and we're somewhere on these steps, and we wait for the royal party to come down, and we're going to be introduced Sir Bernard Delfont, Prince Philip, Marquis and the Marquess of Mitford Haven, and maybe, I don't know, 50 million courtiers. I don't know. You know, we're a little drunk and on cloud nine.
Yeah.
And Bernie's still got the same expression. He's standing there, still smiling, waiting for the Queen to come down. His eyes haven't left where she should be.
Oh gosh.
And she comes down, she speaks to me first, she asks me, and she's so pretty, by the way.
Yeah.
She was like a doll.
Yeah.
How are you? You know, thank God she laughs. I thought she liked us a little bit.
Yeah.
So she said, do you really speak French? And I said, yes, I studied at school, you know, you speak very good act. Nothing about that, nice accent. Thank you, ma'am. And she goes to be, now Sir Bernard goes, and this is Bernie Winters. And Bernie's just standing there, looking at her, goes, hello, your worship. Now, I'm just listening to this. I don't know what to do. But Delfont laughs, the Queen smiles, everybody else is chuckling, and he's happy as a sandboy, he's smiling. Says, yes, had a pleasure to meet you. He goes, yeah. He said, and down bottom of the steps is the pass door backstage,
Yeah.
the Palladium. And on the side there is a poster of the next pantomime, which is Puss in Boots with Frankie Vaughan, Joan Regan, Jimmy Edwards, Dick Emery, and us. We're down there, right with us.
Lots of names though.
Oh yeah. And Bernie points to the pantomime building and goes, we're in pantomime next, you know, we're coming here in pantomime. Oh really? Yes. She doesn't know what to say, where to go. She's stuck. He says, is this true? Well, he goes, I'll get you tickets. I said, bring the kids. I'll get tickets for everyone, don't worry. And everyone laughs, calls her, Mum. Okay, Mum.
I wouldn't say I was as intelligent as my brother Mike.
Definitely.
Yeah?
Yes.
He's a bit stupid, really, you know. But then again, I wouldn't say I was as funny as Eric Morecambe.
No.
No.
Cary Grant, a lovely story there of when you were in a show in Bristol and he's in the audience and you are mimicking his voice. I just think it's fantastic. And then you become friends.
Yes.
You never would have imagined in your showbiz career, would you, to be Cary Grant?
No, never
It's
dreamed.
incredible,
You meet
you
him.
know? Yeah.
I mean, when we first started, we did most comics do impersonations because they're frightened to stand up on their own. You hide behind. At least they don't like me. They like the famous person I'm impersonating.
Yeah.
So you might try a gag.
Yeah.
I did Cary badly, very badly. Edward G. Robinson. Ronald Coleman. I mean, no one remembers him. Edward G. Robinson. I mentioned him.
Yeah.
And Bernie, when we were younger, would copy me.
Yeah.
And do them even worse because he got them from me. So I never dreamed I'd ever meet Cary. I was a big fan of all these people. Edward G. Robinson, in particular. I loved Edward G. I wanted to play his parts.
Yeah.
And Cary Grant. Said everyone wanted to be a leading man. I would like to have been Little Caesar, say.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you get a longer career.
No, I wouldn't think of that though.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah, I would have done, but
Yeah.
I like playing the heavy. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Wow. Listen, Mike, I could talk to you for hours. I really could. This book is my number one for this year, without a doubt. The Sunny Side of Winters is out now. Tell me in 2 words why we should buy it.
I need the money.
Mike Winters, an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
To me, Mike and Bernie Winters, as their own unique double act, will be remembered for being clean, funny, genuinely funny men, and lovable characters, really. And they looked as though they really enjoyed every minute of entertaining. And of course, it was live. And they were 2 lovely fellas. They were. To meet, they were really nice people.
Have you got one too, John?
Yeah, I'll go on to it. It says, Dear Bernie, please sing All My Luggage.
All my luggage? That sounds more like it. He can't spell.
Hey, where's that bottle of scotch I bought you? I threw it away.
What for?
Well, it said it was 17 years old on the bottle. I thought it had gone stale.
She's beautiful. She's lovely.
You like her?
Yeah.
Well, you have her.
I don't want her.
You're the most attractive, the most intelligent, and the funniest man I know.
Oh, shut up.
Yes, I do.
begins the scene. I've got those 10 little tapping toes, and when they hear a tune, I can't control a dancing tune to save my...
Hi, it's Neil Sean here on your entertainment news with the one and only Mr. Alan Scott from BBC Radio, who tells us all about everything you needed to know about the wonderful comedy duo Mike and Bernie Winters. Remember though, Alan?
If you miss it, you'll miss out.
So don't miss Alan today on your entertainment news.